Okay, this packet here is not a final review. It's just some note-taking of some various story problems we've covered during your 2 years with me in algebra. All I need you to do is take notes, not complain about it, okay? Because if you complain about it, you're just going to motivate me to put it on the final, okay? And that wouldn't be good for anybody, okay? So you just have to follow along, take notes, and it's just kind of a little recap. So number one, the cost of car repair was $200 for the part and $25 per hour for labor. How many hours did it take if the bill was $500? Now look at what I have in bold. I've underlined 2 units. So there are 2 units in the problem. The dollars and the hours. So I make my box dollars and hours. And X is the time, the hours. And Y is going to be the other one. So per, you always put the Y label on top and the X label on the bottom. So dollars per hour. Now the dollars per hour is $25. However, this isn't a motion problem. It doesn't go up and come back down. It just goes straight up. Okay? So that's a linear equation. So if you remember how to set that up, it's B at the beginning and then plus MX and then equals Y. Okay? Now my M is $25. So I scribble out the M and put 25X. Now the B also has to be replaced, so you look before the $25 and you got $200. So B is 200. Scribble out the B and put 200. Okay, now I make a much smaller box. Lines can be small boxes. Okay, you don't need a big large box. And you write the equation 200 plus 25x equals y. Okay, now the final value in the problem is $500. That is dollars, so dollars is y, so we put that in for y. So I replace the y. If you're replacing y, you can just scribble it out. And now we have to get the x by itself. So there's only one answer for x. There's not 2 because you don't have a second power. It's just x. So I dot my x, circle it. I have this 200 out here. It's like a plus 200, so we need to minus it. So 200 minus 200 cancels, and I have 25 times x. Then 500 minus 200 is 300, and then I go to the division. So 300 divided by 25 is 12. So that's my answer. It's 12 hours. Okay. Number 2. A computer repair service charges a fee for diagnosis. That means diagnosis means they tell you what's wrong with your computer. And then $35 per hour for repairs. If 2 hours of repair costs $120, how much will 5 hours cost? So again, I have dollars and hours. That's 2 units. Okay, so I go dollars and hours. So x is hours, x is the time, and y is the other unit. So per dollars per hour. So the dollars per hour is $35 per hour. Now again, it wouldn't go up and come down. It would do nothing but go straight up. The cost would, the y unit would. It's not like the feet that go up and come down. So it's a line B plus MX equals Y. Put the plus sign there. Now my M is 35. But I look before $35 for my B, and I don't see anything, okay? I don't see anything I could put there. So I use the formula y equals m times x plus b. Now I put a 1 in front of the b and circle it, okay? Put a dot there. And I have to replace all the other letters with numbers. So my m is the 35. Now for the y and the x, I need a combination. Now I need one of each of these that appear in the same sentence. Now $35 doesn't have an amount of hours with it, so I can't use that. So now I keep reading. 2 hours will cost $120. Those are in the same sentence. So that's what I use for my combo, 2 hours and $120. So hours is x, okay? So 2 is my x, and $120 is my y. Okay, so 120 takes the place of the y, and then next to 35 I put times 2. So I have 120 equals, but then I'm going to take 35 times 2. Okay, that's 70. And then plus 1 dot b. Keep circling the 1 dot b. So now we minus the 70, because outside the circle you got a 70. It's a positive 70, so you're going to minus it. And 120 minus 70 is 50. So 50 equals 1 dot b. Now, since I have just a 1 here, I don't even need to divide. I just cross the 1 out, and 50 equals b. Okay? And there's my equation. Okay? So I have 50 plus 35x equals y. Okay, and then 5 hours. That's the final number. That's what I put into the equation. So hours is x this time. So it's the x, not the y. The y is going to stay. So what I do with the x is I put it in parentheses, scribble it out, and then put a little 5 up there. Now my y has just one answer, okay? And the y is all by itself. So what I do then when I'm solving for y on a line is I just circle that entire thing and calculate it. Calculate. So 50, I don't need to dot the y because there's nothing with it, plus 35 times 5. $225. Okay, and that's what I can put down here. So 5 hours are going to cost $225. Okay, number 3. Polar bears are listed as a threatened species. 3 years after being listed, there were 22,000 polar bears. 5 years after being listed, there were 20,000 polar bears. How many years after being listed will the polar bears become extinct? Can you please put a 0 beneath polar bears, because that's the final value. So again, I have years and polar bears, so that's 2 units. Okay, so years and polar bears. So x is years, because x is always time, and y is polar bears. So when I do my per, the polar bears go on top. It's always per year, and then polar bears. Now I look at this problem, and I don't see the polar bears per year. Okay? So what I use then to find the polar bears per year is y minus y divided by x minus x. Now remember, y is the polar bears, so polar bears go on top, and then the years go on the bottom. Okay? So my polar bears are 22,000 and 20,000. So I put 22,000 minus 20,000. 22,000 minus 20,000. And the years are 3 minus 5. Put them in the order they appear in the problem. So that's going to be 2,000 on top when you minus, and then 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So now I divide 2,000 divided by negative 2, and I get negative 1,000. Now I want the negative there because the polar bears are going down. They're becoming extinct. So I make my line B plus mx equals y. So my m is negative 1,000, okay? Negative 1,000. Now for the b, y, because I don't know the b either. If I don't know that that's negative 1,000 right away, I don't even have that in the problem, I'm going to need to use the y equals m times x plus b to solve for the b. And I put a 1 in front of the b and dot it, and then I replace the rest of the variables. So m is negative 1,000. And now for the x and y, I need the combo. As long as I get a years and a polar bears that are in the same sentence, that can be a combo. So 3 years after being listed, then there's a comma. There were 22,000 polar bears in the sentence ends. So I'm going to use 3 years and 22,000 polar bears. You can just put PB. So years is X and polar bears is Y. So the Y is 22,000. And then after the negative 1,000, I put dot 3 times 3. So I have 22,000. And on the other side, I times these two amounts. Okay, so I take negative 1,000 times 3. I got negative 3,000 plus 1 dot b. Now, the negative is like a minus, so the opposite of minus is plus. Positive is like a plus, and negative is like a minus. So plus 3,000 and 25,000. 22,000 plus 3,000 is 25,000. That cancels, and then I have 1 dot b. Now, if the dot number is a 1, I don't even need to divide because it would still be 25,000. So 25,000 is my b. Okay, now set this up, and you have 25,000 plus negative 1,000x equals y. Okay. And then 0 is the number I put in. It's 0 polar bears. And that takes the place of my y. Okay, so we scribble out the y. I don't need to put it in parentheses because it's by itself. There's no operations going on with it, and I put 0. Then I have to get the x by itself. So that means dot it and circle it. So we're going to divide by negative 1,000. But first I have this plus 25,000 here. So I need to subtract 25,000 and then do it from 0. Don't ever do it under the circle. Okay, so that cancels, and I have negative 1,000 dot x, and then I take 0 minus 25,000. Again, all these only are going to have one answer because you don't have any powers. Okay, and then I divide by negative 1,000. And x equals $25. Okay, so 25 years. Okay, number 4. Marge is responsible for buying a week's supply of food for the dogs and cats at a shelter. She needs to feed 164 cats and 24 dogs. Her budget is $1,248. If cat food costs $6 per bag, how much does dog food cost for each bag? Now this time, there are not 2 units, there are 3, cats, dogs, and money. So that's a different ball game. With 3 units, I don't worry about drawing a graph. I make a table, a big table, and I've separated into 9 boxes, okay? So on top, I've got cats, dogs, and money. Well, cats and dogs go together, so cats, dogs, and money. Then along the side, okay? Or no, not money. Don't put money there. I screwed that up. It's cats, dogs, and together, okay? Now down the side, we put how many, and then per, and then total. Now you're like, well, where do I put the dollar sign? That's a unit. We put the dollar sign above total and per. Okay, now the first thing I do is get my total cost, and it's $1,248. So once I have that, I cross that out. Then what I look for after that is numbers that are not money, okay? Because money is here and here, but it's not here. So, well, I have 764 cats, so I put that under the cats. That's not money either. 24 dogs, I put that under the dogs. Now together you can add those, okay? 164 plus 24 is 188. Now I'm not going to... Okay, now you're looking for money amounts here. The only one you see is $6, and that says that cat food costs $6 per bag. So the cats are $6. And the dogs I don't know, so that's X. And we never put anything in here. We always write NA. Okay? And now what I do is multiply. I take 164 times 6, and that's 984. And then I take 24 times X, and that's 24X. And then I put an equal sign, and I write my equation. 984 plus 24x equals 1,248. Then I need to get the x by itself. I dot and circle it. I have this 984 here that I need to subtract because if it's like a positive, I subtract 984 from 1,248. And I got 264. Okay, and then I undo the multiplication because it's not a 1. I am going to have to divide. And I take 264 divided by 24 and I get 11. Okay, so the dog food costs $11. Now that X is in the dollar column, so I label it with dollars. Okay, number 5. 5 bottles of pop cost $15. How many bottles can we buy for $25? So I got 2 units. I've got bottles and dollars. Okay, so that's 2 units. So 2 units, I go like this, and I've got bottles and dollars. Now there's no time unit, you notice. So what I do is whatever I'm buying is the X, and then the dollars is the Y. So per dollars per bottle. Now we don't know the dollars per bottle, okay? So I think, okay, if I don't know that, I use Y minus Y, X minus X, and Y would be the dollars, and X would be the bottles. But here's the problem. I look for money and I see 15 and 25, but the bottles, all I see is 5. So I can't do that. So that's actually a good thing. It's not as much work then. So when I can't do this, then I can make a cross multiply and divide problem. And all you do is you put 5 bottles 5B. And under it, you put $15. And then you put your labels the same way on the other ratio. And you have $25 and you don't know how many bottles you have, so question mark. And then I cross multiply the two diagonal numbers that I know. That's 125. And then I divide by the number diagonal from the question mark, which is 15. So 125 divided by 15 is about 8. So I put 8. 8 bottles. Okay, number 6. One health club charges $50 sign-up fee and $65 per month. Another club charges a $90 sign-up fee and $45 per month. For what number of months is the cost of the clubs equal? So again, I'm dealing with 2 units, dollars and months. Again, the time unit is X and the money's Y. So it's per X unit, so per month, and it's dollars per month. Well, I see $2 that say per month. I see 65 and I see 45. So that's 2. I put them both in here. Don't add them, just keep them separate. So that means I'm going to make 2 lines, okay? B plus MX equals Y. And then another one just like it. B plus MX equals Y. Okay, so these are my M's, 65 and 45. 65X, 45X. The X is there because you pay that times the months. Now before $65 per month, I see 50. So the B on this line is 50. And then before the $45 per month, I see 90. So the B on this is 90. Okay. Now, what do I do with 2 lines? Well, here's what I do. There's going to be no number I put in. I cross out the Y's. So on this side, I put 50 plus 65X. $50 sign up plus $65 per month. I want to know when that equals $90 plus 45X, $45 per month. Okay, now the problem here is you have 2 X's, so you can't dot and circle. So what you have to do is take the one over here and switch that to minus 45X. And then I minus 45X under the 65X. So I have 50 plus 65 minus 45 is 20X equals 90. Then I dot my X and circle it because that's the only one I have. I have a plus 50 here. It's positive, so it's a plus. So I'm minus 50 and minus 50 from 90. So that's 0. And then 90 minus 50 is 40. So then I divide by 20, divide by 20, and 40 divided by 20 is 2. Okay.